Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. Want to welcome you this afternoon to our Wednesday webinar, where we're going to be talking to you about tips for starting your own business in healthcare. So again, my name is Eric Auger. Again, I'll be assisting you this afternoon in this webinar on these tips for you starting your business in healthcare. Let me share with you 4 things that we're going to be talking with you about this afternoon. First of all, we wanted you to make sure that you have confidence in your solution. Folks, if you don't have confidence in what you're presenting, you're never going to get to where you want to get to. Second of all, you see down there, have a competitive edge. We're going to show you this afternoon. Third, we want you to show your expertise. And then finally, to deliver that service that is second to none. We're going to show you how our support mechanism is going to help you get to where you want to get to in your business. Okay, so it looks like we got some more folks that have joined us this afternoon. And again, it's good to see everybody, and I appreciate, again, at least one person that's got their question box. So if I could get maybe Camille or Cynthia or Rich or Cynthia Chavez. All right, so folks, kind of get into your question box area over there and just say hello to me. There we go. We got somebody. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Cynthia says I'm here. All right, so it's more than just one person that can hear me. All right, let me share with you a little bit about the American Business System software platform, which is what's called a SaaS. That's a fancy word for software as a service. So this iClaim and EMRX platform is second to none, folks. So again, you're going to find out about that through these 4 component areas that we're going to be taking you through this afternoon. And it is an award-winning platform there. Now, my co-host that's going to join me this afternoon is none other than Patrick Phillips, who's the founder of American Business Systems. Actually, if he'll admit it, his wife was really the true founder, and he'll tell you a little bit about their story. He is also an award-winning author. He has written several books. Some of these books are actually used for you to market your business. If you recall, if anybody was on the webinar with us last week, we actually talked, Adam and I talked about Patrick's book on how to reprogram yourself for success. All of these books are available on Amazon.com. You can certainly go out there and find them. If you're really, really, really nice to the person that asked you to come to the webinar this afternoon, you might end up getting a copy of one of these electronically. So you might want to find out about that. He is also a member of the editorial board of the BC Advantage, which is a billing and coding magazine. And we've already shared that about the book. So look, with no other further assistance from me, let me get Patrick on here. Good afternoon, Patrick. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Eric. Hey, we got a good crowd of people here today. Looks like a lot of people are thinking about starting their own business in medical billing. And folks, if you haven't considered this field as something that is long-term, Eric, we got some great articles here, I think, that we can talk to them about right off the bat here. I thought I put them in there, but I don't see them, so I don't know where they went.
Okay, you should be able to see them on the screen. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, and yet it's not on my copy. I don't know what's going on here, but anyway, you have the correct copy there. That's correct, yes. Look at that, that's revenue cycle management. Now, folks, that's really what you'll be doing, is managing the revenue cycle for a doctor. Now, don't let that scare you. It's not a big deal. I mean, he only gets money from 2 places, insurance companies and the government agencies, of course, and patients. Those 2 places. We can show you how to manage that. And look, it says it's going to grow by $33 billion by 2026. Eric, that's 5 years from now, if I did the math right there. Yep. And so the next 5 years, $33 billion growth. So it's just a huge market, folks. The healthcare market itself in total is like in the trillions, 1.3 trillion or something like that. But we're going to grow by 33 billion in the next 5 years. So if you're looking for something that's going to be around a while, I think healthcare will be here, don't you, Eric?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, the way that obviously the whole industry is going, for people that are getting into revenue cycle management, which Patrick already said it's about, that's what billing is really all about. There's more aspects of revenue cycle management. Patrick, I think you and I did a webinar not too long ago where we kind of broke that down, what that cycle looks like. But then there's some new things that have obviously kind of been birthed out of the whole pandemic that we've kind of gone through, and hopefully we're coming out of. And that is the whole area of what you put up here was about virtual care. I mean, you talk about some ways to actually get into that doctor's office. This is certainly one of them.
Yeah, so virtual care, let's talk about that for a minute. Is that the slide that's showing, Eric, the virtual care statistics? Oh, it's the brochure in it. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay, the virtual care statistics. There you go. Yep, there you go. I got that pulled up.
Oh, yeah. So here's one we just ran across the other day that, look, April 1st, it says, virtual care may drive the global healthcare market to 2.6 trillion by 2025. I think I had that off by a trillion or so, didn't I, Eric? A while ago. 2.6 trillion. That's the whole global healthcare market. But folks, virtual care is one of those things that unless you wrap your head around it, you can't even imagine how much money there is involved in that. Not only for doctors who engage with that virtual care with their own patients, but for you as one of our licensees, our franchisees that goes out and signs the doctor up on this, there is big dollars for you in this as well. So that brochure that we just showed is one that we came up with that is on the whole virtual care. And if you don't know a whole lot about that, it's because we just introduced it here, what, Eric, a month or so ago, as far as to our current licensees. They don't even barely know about it themselves, but whenever we add something new, folks, it's just rolled out to everybody and you have access to it. You know, you can offer it or not offer it. It's always optional. We have probably 7 or 8 other ancillary services that you can offer. This is just one of them. But yeah, there's big money in this. You'll see as what we've done, like you said, webinars on this particular topic, haven't we?
Absolutely, you bet. I mean, and folks, again, just trying to give you some tips of what you're going to need to do to start your business. That's just kind of peeking back behind the curtain there a little bit. Well, Patrick, as we kind of get started here again this afternoon, you know, you and I were just trying to figure out what do we share to people about, you know, tips. I mean, obviously we talked about things in the past like, you know, don't reinvent the wheel and, you know, focus in on what we've got, but we wanted to kind of talk a little differently again, and really some tips that you've got to know whether you're starting a business in healthcare or whether you're going to start a business in anything. You've got to have at least these 4 components.
Yeah, at least. So let's start with that first one, Eric. Confidently know your solution. Folks, we happen to have the solution that doctors need. I tell people it's like selling popsicles in the Sahara Desert. It's pretty easy to sell the doctor on this, Eric, because it's got to do with their cash. It's bringing in more cash for the practice. We know how to do that. We've proven that we've done that many times all over the country from every type of specialty there is out there. We can help you build that confidence in yourself, folks, by giving you a solid foundation. That starts with our training. The training is the basis for everything that you're going to see in the rest of this webinar. We teach you exactly what you need to do. Look, it's done one-on-one virtually across the internet. You have an instructor who is one of our licensees who we pay to actually do the training. This person that we select for you for your trainer will set this up with you on your own schedule. It can be even after hours and on the weekends if the slots are open. So I'm just encouraging you folks, if you're looking into this business and want to get trained by the best, we happen to have people who've been out there and not just book learning, but I mean, they've done it. They've built their own business and are very successful at it. You
bet. And this next slide is actually, Patrick, you might want to walk through these. I mean, this is great information. I mean, if I were sitting on the other side of the webinar today and wanted to kind of know what do you teach me? I mean, you've got 10 modules here. What is all of this about?
Well, let's start with module 1. You see it over there to the left. That is the introduction, of course, and the practice workflow. We teach you the basics, even intro to medical billing. There's a section on real basics. So folks, we have people who go through this training. In fact, I'd say most of them, Eric, that don't have any background at all in the medical field, and especially in medical billing. Then, of course, in module 2, we go into the actual overview of the iClaim system, which is our online cloud-based billing system. and the EMRX, that's the electronic medical records that the doctor and their staff can use to interact with the patients inside their own office using an iPad or a tablet. And then we give you some hands-on sessions where you actually are practicing and using the system to get a feel for how it works. Right. Eric, every one of these modules, I tell you what, let's just encourage people to download the printout of this so they can read about each one of these modules. But folks, as you can see, there's 10 modules. Each one lasts about 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. Remember, it's just you and the instructor, so it's up to you as to how long or short you want it to be, and they work it around your schedule. And by the time you've gone through all 10 of these, believe me, you know every aspect of this business and can go out and get your first client.
You bet. Now, folks, again, remember two things. We'd like for you to ask some questions, so feel free to ask some questions if you'd like to. And then also, as Patrick just said, please go over there and in the handouts area underneath your go-to webinar control panel, go over there and download the handout, and that you can kind of review those modules. And what you want to do is, if you got a question about any of these modules, get back with the person that invited you to the webinar today, and then they'll kind of explain how each one of these will work for you. So be sure to go get that and download that. Now, Patrick,
module 6, look at module 6 there, for example. Yeah. That one is real important, folks, because we have the question asked all the time, well, how do I get clients? Are you going to help me get clients? Folks, we have a whole section in module 6 and 7 and 8 is all about marketing, all about how to get clients. So we go into depth in that. And listen, this is, again, not book learning. This is from the field. This is what actually is working right now today in a pandemic. This is what's working to help our licensees get clients.
Well, you say that this is really what's happening in the real world, and because some of these folks are going to be your instructors who are none other than other ABS licensees.
Yeah, folks, we just believe that even though Eric and I and the rest of my staff could teach these modules, we want you to learn from somebody who's actually doing it. Then when you ask them a question, they know exactly what the answer is according to the day, because things change, sometimes on a daily basis. So you need somebody who's actually out there in the field, building their business. They know what works. They know what doesn't work.
Patrick, here's a question from Jason, and he's asking, one of the questions I have, and we'll ask some of the licensees, is I hear that it takes about 1 hour a day to service a client. What does that mean, and what needs to be done?
Well, that's a real simple question to answer. You're just doing the billing for that doctor according to whatever they either put into their electronic medical record system. Remember, I told you they could use the iPad to enter some stuff there for you. Or you might want to set up what we call our document management system. It's called iDocs Now, and it allows them to scan in anything they want to into the system, and then you have access to it from there. So again, there's no real paper involved here. It's all done electronically because we have the methods to do that. But the claims for one particular doctor, Eric, I think we've got a site out there on our website that goes through that step by step. But if a doctor has, let's say they're seeing even 15 or 20 patients a day, folks, that's plenty of time for you to do the billing for all 15 or 20 of those, probably within an hour to an hour and a half, let's say.
That's right.
That's all it takes.
And again, each claim takes, again, just over, I think we broke it down into about 90 minutes per claim inside the iClaim platform. Now, folks, let's clarify that, because the speed in which you can do this can really only be matched within our system. Now, some systems, if you're not using our system, the billing system here is we're showing this because that's what you're going to learn during that training course. Can take you a little bit longer, but all of our codes are all inside here, especially if it's being matched up with the electronic medical records, which is a customized EHR, this is where the doctor is using. So when the doctor is seeing you as a patient and they're seeing that you've got a cough or some infection, and they're putting all the codes that are going into the EHR, once that doctor gets through seeing you, then all of that information goes directly into, again, back over here into the billing system. So truly, it does take you less than just a minute per claim to kind of get through that. So if you had 60 claims or so, you probably spend no more than an hour to an hour and a half per doctor, doing all of that. And again, we're showing, illustrating to you how the doctor just uses like an iPad to actually see his or her patients, and just kind of going through it, and they can type, they can touch, they can talk directly into their iPad and take their entire physical note there.
And Eric, it's probably important that we tell people that the reason we don't have a CD or a DVD that we can mail to you as a demo disc of some sort is because ours is real time. It's based on the cloud. So literally, when we get on to do a demo for you, we can go through this one by one, step by step with you individually. Somebody at our office here will go through the system and show it to you and let you ask all the questions you want. But that's why we don't do it anything other than a live demo, because we want to talk to you about it and let you ask all the questions you want to ask as we go through there. Now remember,
right,
we're not trying to sell you anything on these webinars, and we certainly don't try to sell you anything on those demos. We're there literally to show you what the system is all about, and hopefully you like it enough to pursue your due diligence.
Absolutely. And folks, remember, we're talking about this one little section here right now about confidently knowing your solution. And again, this is how to get you started successfully. And so obviously we're going to end with support. It's what you're going to be learning during those sessions here. So each of these solutions, whether it's Audit Guard or Quick Collect or Choice Pay or Compliancy Guard, whatever it may be, whatever the solutions that you want to help deliver to the doctor, you're going to learn during one of those modules that we showed to you just a moment ago. So you will walk out of that training very confidently to know that you can talk with a doctor. You know, Patrick, I think you and I did a webinar. Actually, it was Adam. Adam and I did one just last week where it talked about some people might like to try to go pre-market a little bit and see if they could go out there and maybe talk with some doctors and see if this is a good field to be in. Well, if you try to go do that and you start talking lingo that you don't know anything about, then you're gonna burn any potential business that you can have. You're gonna learn all the lingo of what you're gonna know to in that training class. Again, so if a doctor says, hey, do you do this, that, and the other, you're gonna be able to answer them confidently.
Well, and with us and our network of licensees from coast to coast behind you, we are the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. So with us behind you, you see, they can't ask you any question that we don't have the answer to. You can even say to them, let me check with my insurance specialist at the office or my IT specialist at the office. Well, folks, that's us. Right. We're part of our network, and we've got literally hundreds of people from coast to coast that can help you with those things. So you'll never be at a loss. And again, since we do the demos for you and for your prospective clients, we answer all the questions when they're on the phone with us on that meeting, showing them the demo of the system. So be sure and get back with the person who invited you to this and say, look, I want to see that live demo.
Absolutely. Now, here's what you also need to know that you're going to learn. You're going to confidently know who to market to. That's why we talk about right here, who is your target market. So the individual that will be teaching you in those modules is going to start teaching you how to go find your target market. Whether you're using billing or whether you're using one of the other solutions out there, you're going to know which market, which doctor. That's what we're talking about. How to pinpoint a particular specialty, how to look for doctors in your area, how to know who to even market to. So some of these targets that you're going to be needing to do, we're going to be able to kind of help, take you from the end of the line up to the front of the line on your marketing. That's, again, a very confident thing that you're going to learn as part of your solution.
Yeah, believe me, we've thought of everything, folks. Literally, we call this a business in a box. That's because it literally comes to you in a box, and it's got a lot of stuff in there to go through and learn, lots of resources and so forth. And you'll have access to our licensee web support site that we'll show you here in just a minute. Hey, Eric, we also certify them now through an organization called MRMA, the Medical Revenue Management Association of America, MRMA.
That's right.
.org. You can go check that out right now, folks, if you'd like to see who that is and who's on the board of directors for that organization. But It's a very credible organization. And once they've certified you, you have the right to go out and tell every doctor out there, hey, I've been through the training with MIRMA. So I am not just a medical biller, I'm a medical revenue manager.
That's right. Yeah, and so those little initials go right behind your name there. So that's one of the exciting things as you get through it, that however long it takes you, if it takes you a week or if it takes you a couple of weeks to kind of get through that online training. I think, Patrick, some people have even stretched it out to 3 weeks, depending upon their schedules. And that's the beauty of the training. Patrick, I remember, gosh, has it been last year or the year before last? We used to have our week-long trainings here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
And if you can fit your schedule within that week of training, then you may have to do something differently. Now that we've got the flexibility, everybody's learning from home anyway. And prior to COVID and the outbreak of COVID, we were already doing online training and getting people through that system so much quicker than having to wait for them to get to the next training class about every 6 weeks we used to have.
Yeah, we were way ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Absolutely. Now, again, folks, we just went through that first little section there, and we want to make sure that there's any particular questions that we don't leave you behind. But we're moving on to the next little section here of the webinar, and that is number 2, show your expertise. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, gosh, I'm just getting started. Patrick, how do I get from not knowing anything about revenue cycle management to showing my expertise in this field?
Well, that's a simple solution to that. We have all the tools that you need, including the training, of course, that you're going to go through, to give you that strong marketing presence. For example, we have a little flip chart that you see there on the left that you can literally create a little flip chart like that you can walk through with a doctor or an office manager exactly what you can do for them. It talks about all of our different services. You can edit this any way you want to, put your name and your logo on it and so forth. And of course, it's available electronically, as you see there on the right, for you to just use on your phone or, well, I guess you'd have to have an iPad at least to be able to see it. But there's the slides. And that's part of what you're doing, is showing your expertise by having exactly the right words to say. We give you the exact script as to what to say as you go through this with a doctor.
And that giving you that learning tool of learning how to kind of go through that little flip chart, which is going to lead them to your next part of showing your expertise, because you're going to just get them kind of whetting their appetite a little bit to the point where you get those people to we call a live demonstration of the system. So imagine, again, you are kind of monitoring and you're kind of almost co-hosting like Patrick and I are doing with one of our expertise here at ABS, and having us answer all the questions to the doctor. So let's say that you got your doctor on one side, your ABS support is on the other side. You're tied into a go-to meeting, very similar to the way we're doing right now with the go-to webinar. And then the doctors are going, well, can you show me how to navigate to a patient roster, or can you show me how to do billing, or can you show me how all these reports are going to download reports? Well, imagine you just got through with training. You may not know where anything is, but our group of people, we do. Therefore, we can actually show your expertise pretty quickly.
Yes, in fact, we make you look so good, it's ridiculous. You are literally the expert without having to be the expert, because you've got us to help answer all the questions and give them a professional demonstration of the system. They want to know that you're using the latest technology, and folks, we are. This is the only cloud-based system that's out there, as you'll see, that has the clearinghouse, for example, built into it.
Absolutely.
There's just give you huge advantages in the marketplace. And that's one of them. We'll show you here in a second.
And then, one of the other great things, and I like you to take a little bit of time in talking about this lady here, Dr. Vicki Rackner. How does a doctor become my business partner here with ABS, Patrick?
Well, it's simple. We just looked all over the internet and found the one doctor who's a retired general surgeon, by the way. She was in practice for about 20 years, saw thousands of patients, and her partner decided right up front when they opened their practice, Eric, to outsource their billing. She says, that's the best decision we made. as a practice, was to get that billing out of the office so we didn't have to depend on an employee to always be there. You know, they take off, they go sick, they go on vacation. He says, having somebody outsourced this to, we felt real confident that we're going to get our money, and we did. They collected about 98% of all the money that was due to them, and that's very unusual with medical billing companies. Most of them can't collect but about 65 or 70%.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Now, also, we see to the left of her right now that book, The New Thriving Medical Practice. And whenever I was introducing you just a while ago, I mentioned that that book could be used as a marketing tool for a brand new licensee. And so I'm going to show this up here. Why don't you kind of talk us through the design and the thought behind when you wrote the book and what it means, a forward by Susan Smith, CMRM.
Yeah, well, Susan Smith is, that could be your name. Think of that as your name there on the front cover of the book as having written the forward. Now, we've already got a forward written that you can use. Just put your name and contact information on it if you'd like, or you can write your own with our editing help. We'll make sure that it's accurate, of course, but you can write your own forward. So this is as close to publishing your own book as you're going to get, folks, and it comes included in your license. There's no extra charge for this. We put your name on the cover. It's on the inside title page, as you can see right there if you look real tiny. And then on the far right there, there's the end of the forward where you actually have your contact information, your company name, your web address, your email and phone number and so forth. It's all right there printed in the book. Eric, the amazing thing is that we can provide these books. First of all, we give a big supply of them to people to start out with as a part of their licensing package. But then if they run out, they can reorder these, and they're as little as $4 a copy, even if you order just 25 of these books at one time. So for $100, you can get another 25 of these books that has your name printed right there on the cover. I don't know of any other company that does anything close to this, Eric, to give people that that position of credibility.
Well, again, folks, what we're trying to help you understand today is we're giving you tips for starting your business in healthcare. And if we're looking at different companies and they're not offering you half of what we're showing you today, you really need to steer away from those, because it's not that we're trying to say that we're better, but in a sense, we are better because we have thought of every aspect that you could think of bettering yourself out there in the marketplace. Now, Patrick, did you just change rooms there? Did you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I went into my home office. No, everybody probably knows by nowadays that these are fake backgrounds, but I just thought I'd see what that looked like. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, I'll go back to the regular.
Yeah, you throw everybody off there. At least we're making sure that people are paying attention. We got to make sure that
yeah, I saw a couple of comments there in the question box, like, what happened? Where did you go? Okay, so Eric, this is a good point, that by positioning people as not a co-author, but having your name just on the cover of a book along with a doctor's name gives you huge credibility that you would not have otherwise. And that's just one of several books that we have that licensees can use for marketing.
Absolutely, yeah. Folks, we're at the bottom of the hour. We just went through two major sections of the webinar so far. And remember, I've mentioned to you at the beginning, this hour is going to go by quickly. So again, if you got some questions, feel free to ask those questions, and we're going to move to topic number 3. You have to have a competitive edge. Now, absolutely, you have to have a competitive edge in any market. And this, again, is going to give you that little bit of an edge or confidence that you're going to stand strong against any others or all others that are out there. So what we're talking about here is about the system in and of itself. We're going to kind of share with you real quickly what a typical billing scenario. Now, it kind of goes back to Jason's question here about, I hear it only takes about an hour to do billing. So let me kind of share with you in a sketch here about how typically a billing system looks like right now. You can see that there's a billing software to the left, which is usually, again, Patrick's even used to, Patrick, I don't even know if I've got a CD or a DVD of anything in my office anymore. But you used to look
around. Yeah, I have to look around for one.
Yeah,
there's what they look like. For those of you who don't remember. Yeah,
that's what they used to look like, where software used to come in on it. and it would reside on a particular computer. You can see this is not a cloud thing. This is actually running on a computer there. And then when a claim gets processed, then it's going to go to a thing called a clearinghouse. Now, Patrick mentioned to you about a clearinghouse. Again, you see that it's so separate from your billing office. So imagine you're working at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Main Street or wherever you are in USA, and then you need to ship that to some clearinghouse. Well, that clearinghouse is so far out, it's not even in your office anymore. It's somewhere else. Then it's going to get sent to the insurance companies. Well, that's why it takes a long time, and then there's errors that happen. If there's an error at the clearinghouse, it comes back to your software. If there is an error in the insurance company, it's got to go back through the clearinghouse and then clearinghouse back to you in your software. That's why a lot of doctors will find themselves not being able to collect in a timely fashion. Now, add a pandemic on top of that, we saw a lot of doctors almost go out of business because they were so far behind anyway. And then with everybody else not being able to get to their offices, including people that work in the clearinghouses or the insurance companies, you can imagine what's going on. Now you enter into iClaim. You see, iClaim is now a cloud-based system where that means you don't have to download anything. So if there's any updates, any patches or anything else that you think of in the old days where you used to have to update things or have a patch for this or have a patch for that, it's all on a browser. You just go, you log in, you type in your password, and boom, you're right in the software. But not only are you in the software, you're also in our own clearinghouse. There is no other software out there that is a billing system and a clearinghouse at the same time, like our system is. And so now we can go directly to these insurance companies instantaneously, and we're bypassing, you're kind of thinking about that, you're kind of bypassing all of these other, where the claims could get lost in the process.
Yeah, and that's a huge advantage out there in the marketplace. If you've got the only system out there that can send it directly to the insurance companies and bypass a clearinghouse, you've got a huge advantage. This is why there are companies who still tell people, look, buy our software, download it, install it, and update it, and all that on your own. And oh, by the way, if you'd like to pick out your own clearinghouse, here's a list of a half a dozen of them that you could pick from. Well, folks, you don't know which clearinghouses give you the best service or which one's the cheapest, or it all boils down to this. The clearinghouse is the key to getting those claims paid. And we happen to have one that's built into our system, so that's why our rejection or denial rate on claims that are first submitted is less than 2%.
Right.
Eric, I think the standard out there right now is probably closer to 20, 25%.
Right. Yeah, it certainly can be. And so whenever you're needing an edge out there in the market, there is no other system that we know about still yet that has a practice management system, which is your billing system, an EMR system, which is our EMRX platform, the clearinghouse, which does all the claims scrubbing and all those claim submissions that goes directly to the insurance companies, plus a patient portal, which again, I'm going to kind of talk about the pandemic that we just got through, and that is inside that patient portal, we already had a way to do telehealth. So we already had that as a competitive edge. And listen, the doctors that were already on our system, they didn't skip a beat. They already had it. We had to get some of those doctors up and going and making sure that they knew how powerful their system was. But again, we were able to help those doctors, or should I say our licensees were able to help their own doctors really stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, Eric, I know this is a long time ago. A lot of people on here might not even remember Katrina, the hurricane that came through, Louisiana. And we had licensees who were in that area, who had clients in that area, and they didn't skip a beat, Eric, because even if their computer was just wiped out in the flood, they could literally go to a computer store, get a new computer, log into our system from anywhere in the world that has an internet connection, and boom, they were back in business using the system, and all the data was there without having to worry about it being backed up or lost or destroyed or released out there into the atmosphere so that thieves could steal the patient data. That's the great thing about a cloud-based system. We back it up. We're in charge of that data, and since it's all HIPAA compliant, that means that we're following all the rules for patient privacy. Oh, and
Absolutely.
look here. Yeah, talk about competitive advantage. Look, there it is right there. Eric summarized it in this one slide. Less than 2% rejected claims. That's our system now, remember. And the reimbursements are paid in 7 to 10 days. Eric, that's unheard of in today's world.
Right.
Even with electronic claims, most doctors are not getting paid for 30 to 45 days.
Absolutely. So again, having that competitive edge out there is going to give you a way to get your business up and going as quickly as possible. And then, folks, lastly, we're going to number 4 here, and that is to deliver a support that is truly second to none. And what we mean by that is that we're going to actually give you unlimited support to help you get your business. And Patrick, I remember whenever I first met you, I think it was over 14 years ago now, that when you first started off, or at least whenever I met you then, you had limited support. It was like a 2-year support system. And then,
Right.
you know, if they wanted some more, they could actually buy some more, you know, support. But you kind of came back and said, look, if they need support 10 years from now, let's give it to them.
Yeah, and the way we do that, people, is we actually have, you know, some profits as a company from some of the other services that you offer to the doctor. Now, you don't ever pay us anything. There's no royalties or anything like that. But behind the scenes, through our partners, our technology partners that powers all this software, we make a few pennies on each one of those claims that go through the system. So that keeps us in business. We're making money. You're making money. It's the American way. That's the way it works in America, the free enterprise system. So we can provide you with unlimited support. Look, Eric, to be honest with you, any other company could do that too if they wanted to, but hey, it's a money-making deal for some of them. They'll charge free for the first year or maybe 2 years, and then after that, it's another $1,200 a year. Well, that's ongoing, a lot of money that you're going to pay out for support. We don't charge one extra dime for anything after you've paid that initial licensing fee of $27,990.
Absolutely. And then what you're also getting of that support is 27 plus years of experience. Now, what does that mean to you? I mean, that should mean a whole lot because, you know, obviously, Patrick, when you and your wife, Linda, started medical billing over 30 years ago, obviously, you were doing it on a machine. I think it was called a typewriter. I think that's what it used to be called.
Yes, that's right. A Selectric typewriter. We had to type those claims out.
In there, you know, it was.
And it had carbonless paper so that you were making several copies. And if you made a mistake on the typewriter, you had to roll it out, white it out with this liquid white out. Doesn't that seem old-fashioned nowadays?
Boy, but it was in our lifetime. We could remember those days of learning.
You had to resubmit the claim and hope it went through the second time. Yeah, that's all done electronically now, folks. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, a lot of support goes behind this. 27 years, that means a whole lot to people because that means we're going to not only be around another 27 years, hopefully, Lord willing, but we'll also be there for people who don't have to worry about whether or not they've got the business up and running as fast as they wanted to. Maybe you put it on the shelf and other things come up in your life and your daughter gets married and you have to make a trip to Europe and there's all kinds of things that come up. Fine. Just take it back off the shelf when you get home and let's crank that thing back up. We've got people who've done that, Eric, who've been out of the business 4 or 5 years even, and then they come back to us and say, I think I'm ready to get this thing cranked up. Can I do that? Yeah, we'll take them right back to training and support and whatever they need to get the thing going. Because again, we make money too.
Absolutely. And then I think you may have mentioned earlier about the ABS licensee support site. What is this all about?
Yeah, you know, Eric, we set this up about 13, 14 years ago, I think it was, and we continue to add to this almost weekly. We're adding new items on here. So we have literally hundreds of documents, contracts, marketing flyers, all sorts of things that you can download. Plus we have videos, training videos, probably over 100 hours of additional training that's right here on this site. So you can go into depth into anything you want to learn more about. We've got the modules that you can go through on this site to get what you need. It's a great support. It's hard to explain to people until they actually have gone to this site and see how much is there, but you'll have access to that as soon as you get through our training.
Absolutely. And then we've done in this webinar, what we've done is broken down this support in 3 sections. So this is our last section here, but in this section, you kind of think you're getting a bonus already. So there's 3 sections of this that we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at marketing support, billing support, and then the ABS network. So we're going to first of all look at what this marketing support looks like. So Patrick, we've gone into detail in some other webinars about really what a practice analysis is, but just real briefly, why don't you help us explain to us what a practice analysis is all about?
Yeah, this has kind of evolved over the years, Eric. When my wife and I were doing medical billing back in the early 90s, of course, we didn't have all these questions already worked out and knew what the answers were going to be and how to work with these. But as you can see, we've developed, I think it's more than 3 pages now. It's probably 4 or 5 pages of questions that you can ask the office manager. Usually they have most of the answers, or the doctor themselves, depending on how big the practice is. And once you've got the answers to all these questions, you go back and put this back into our system and then generate a report that's called a practice revenue report.
I think I've got one pulled up right here.
Yeah, and as soon as people see this, they realize, oh, there's not any selling that has to be done here. This report, as you can see, folks, breaks it down. Look down towards the bottom there under the projected impact on the practice. The monthly revenue increase for this particular practice is 58% increase. And this is very typical. We didn't inflate these numbers at all. The increased revenue per month is another $10,000 a month, Eric. That would mean something to some doctor out there, wouldn't it?
You bet.
Wouldn't
Absolutely.
they be able to put a down payment on a nice car or take a vacation or something with that? And that's $122,000 a year, bottom line. So folks, when you show this report to the doctor based on their numbers that they gave you, it's kind of hard for them to say, nah, I'm not interested in that extra $122,000 a year. This does all the selling for you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go back again. So folks, again, just kind of see the sequence of how support's working, because you need to kind of really grasp this, not in individual question amount the questionnaire, but see the sequence. So you're going to do a questionnaire with the doctor. You're going to take all that information, put it in this report, get it ready. And then what you're going to do, you're going to set up a time where you are going to do a demonstration with the doctor. Now, what's going to happen here is in that training, you're going to learn how this whole sequence is going to work. Because if you do it in the order we're showing you, you're going to find out that you're going to win 50% of your business. Well, what I mean by that, what we've seen here is 1 out of every 2 demonstrations that we end up doing, we're actually helping you close the deal.
Yeah, that's unheard of, by the way, folks, in any kind of marketing or sales, to have 1 out of every 2 people that you talk to sign up with you. Now, that doesn't happen sometimes immediately. Sometimes it takes a little follow-up. But once you do, if you do what we teach you to do on the automated follow-up of these demos that we do for you, you'll see that the next step is to get them to answer these questions on the practice analysis. Then we'll help you with the actual proposal that you'll come up with for the doctor's office. We'll help you prepare that, and then we'll even show you exactly how to create that report that we just saw a while ago, showing the $122,000. Now, every doctor is not going to show that kind of increase, but even if it was only another $30,000, $40,000 a year, most doctors would be interested enough to take time to listen to what you had to say.
You bet. And then, so that's the marketing. So this deliver that support that's second to none. Remember, we've kind of talked about that. After you've gone through the marketing, obviously you got to know, you have support with the billing side of it. So that first section of support is just marketing, because we know that you're brand new, you need the marketing, or you may be a seasoned and you still need the support, and we're here to help you with that. But then you get in on the billing side of it. Now we've got folks here that are actually here to help you. Like Patrick said, a lot of our technology support folks are here to help you with any particular support. We've got training, and for those that are so worried, and you may be one of those folks today that is worried about, Well, I don't know anything about medical coding. Somebody told me I was going to have to go to medical school or coding school or something like that. That's part of the package of what you're purchasing here at American Business Systems. You're getting certified professional coders to do that coding for you.
And all the codes are built into our system. So it's not like you have a book that you have to look the code up. It's right into our system. You can type a keyword like sore throat, and you'll see what the code for that is. It'll give you the suggested codes that the doctor could pick from. So it's a wonderful system, but at the same time, sometimes you need some individual guidance by certified professional coders, and we have those people on board ready to help you and your clients.
Absolutely. And whether it's coding or auditing, sometimes the doctor might need to go through some auditing tips or anything like that. We have Audit Guard that will have, again, those same certified professional coders do an audit for your doctors and help you and help that doctor stay within the boundaries of what you think might be of the particular codes. Then you've got accounts receivable support. So let's say that a doctor they're not able to collect on past due accounts or whatever they did. So we have an entire accounts receivables type of support that comes with either quick collect or choice pay. So, Patrick, I don't think we've left a stone unturned whenever it comes to what a licensee can deliver and then how we can support them.
Well, and remember, folks, all of these are optional services. You don't have to offer any of these. You never have to talk about anything that you don't want to offer to the doctor. We provide these to our licensees as a part of our package because we think that they're tools that will help you to get in to see the doctor and that can help you lock that doctor in. I tell people, look, Eric, when you're out hunting whales, the more harpoons you can put in the whale, the less likely that whale is going to get away from you, right? So with all these different services that you can offer to a doctor's office, it's wonderful because it locks them in. They literally are locked in to use you for their billing for the rest of their lives, unless you just messed up real bad.
Yeah. And then some doctors might need what's called document management support. Now, this is separate from electronic medical records. Let's say that a doctor has a lot of documents, and a lot of doctors need to still keep those records for 7 and maybe even up to 10 years. And some of them might need to keep them up longer than that. So we've got a document management support that is built right on in. And then we finally kind of wrap everything up here with HIPAA compliancy support. So if a doctor finds out that they've got a HIPAA violation, something happened in their office, documents left the office and they got put into a trash can somehow, we've got all of that covered. And again, we have support for each of these areas that you may not have even thought of whenever it comes down to the revenue cycle management part of it. We've got it all covered for you.
Yeah, so you literally become, folks, a part of the nation's largest network of medical billers. We are the largest. We have people from coast to coast who've been doing this for years out there. And we can even let you talk to some of those people. As you'll see here, as we get towards the end of the webinar, I'll show you how to get a list of people that have gone through our training and paid our license fee and now have their own successful business that they're running. They're willing to take a call from you and let you ask them all the questions you want. So you're part of the nation's largest network, but you're also not in competition with any of those other licensees that are out there. They are your network of support. We're going to show you how that with our Facebook group, you're actually able to interact with other licensees from coast to coast and ask questions of those people. So it's just a wonderful family-like atmosphere. Once you become a part of our family, we're going to hold your hand until you're as successful as you want to be.
So folks, as we start wrapping up this webinar, again, I told you this hour is going to go by quickly, and we've got about 8 minutes left here before we kind of wrap things up. But we've shown you some tips on starting, whether it's your solution, whether it's having a competitive edge, whether it's showing your expertise, or whether it's showing you that you've got to have a support mechanism to make sure that you're successful in getting your business started. One of the things that you can certainly count on of helping you, and I call this a tip, is, Patrick, the money back guarantee that you have here with ABS. Why don't you kind of talk to us about that?
Yeah, you know, I came up with this a few years back, and I think my staff thought I'd lost my marbles because there's no other company that I know of, Eric, that offers live training with a live instructor. That's what, 15 hours of initial training that we'll take you through step by step. We give
Right.
you access to all of our proprietary marketing materials and ideas during that training. And if at the end of the training, within the first 30 days, if you decide, you know what, this didn't turn out to be anything like what I thought it was going to be, just ask for your money back. Now, if you're wondering how we do that, it's because we have less than 1/2 of 1% of the people who come through our training who ask for any kind of refund. But Eric, we also know what we have, right? And when people go through this, they get it. They get it. They wrap their brain around it and realize that this is much, much larger an opportunity than they even thought it was. And then they go on to build their own business and be as successful as they want. Folks, you can keep this as small as you wish. We have licensees who've been with us for several years, and they still only have a handful of clients that they do the billing for. That's because they want to maintain, you know, a small, compact, family-owned business. But we've got others, Eric, as you know, that have expanded. They've opened offices. They've hired employees. They literally have a booming business and have, you know, 100 or more doctors as clients. So you can keep it as small as you want, but you can also build it as large as you want to.
You bet. Patrick, before we go into kind of some next steps here, I thought maybe we can take a few questions here, let all this kind of sink in. And some people might have to leave right up at the top of the hour. And I know that we kind of reserve questions towards the end sometime, but you know, let's make sure that we get some of these questions in here. So Havela, hopefully I said your name correctly, is asking, what is the business opportunity here? Well, just real briefly, it is a business opportunity in medical billing, or what we've talked about revenue cycle management. And so hopefully if that doesn't answer your question, again, what I certainly would recommend is get back with the individual that invited you here to the webinar. They'll be able to go a lot more in depth and maybe just get you to schedule a live demonstration. So that might be very helpful.
Yeah, Shirley says, I understand now that as far as the doctor, you talk to the doctor, they say yes, and then you have them as a client. Well, Shirley, that's basically the bottom line is right. You're going to talk to some doctors that say, yes, I'm interested, let's get started. Others that say, well, no, I'm not quite ready to make a decision. Let me think about it. And then we'll show you how to follow up with those doctors and keep them in your drip marketing. And once they've been dripped on a few months, believe me, some of them will call you up and say, you know what, I've decided that from what you've sent me in the mail and so forth and by email, I think I need your services. And that's how it works. Yeah.
Rogelio is asking, I don't know if I missed it, but what are the fees to start here? Well, the fees is $27,990. It's one-time fee. There's no additional fees. Everything that we've shown you so far is like if all of the different services, those are all included, Rogelio. So hopefully, again, that helps you bring a little bit that where you don't have to be thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to afford all of these fees? That it's a one-time fee of $28,000 there.
Yeah, it's like a franchise fee. Every franchise has a big upfront fee like that. Some of them are much larger than $28,000, by the way. But we kept ours where we think is affordable for people to get involved if they're interested in starting the business. We want enough people out there that are servicing the doctors in the area. And believe me, when you go out and find out how many doctors there are, you're going to go, oh, no wonder I can't handle all these doctors here in my area. I'd have to have some help. So we do have other people who are doing the business in your area, but we can let you know about those people too. We never market to someone if we know that there's somebody very active in their particular city or area that they're in.
Right.
Let's see, Shirley says she's going to have a little trouble getting together her funds. Shirley, let me encourage you to get back with the person who sent you this email, invited you to this webinar, and just tell them that fact that look, I don't have any funds set aside. What can I do? And we've got several suggestions that we can give with you there.
All right. Cynthia's asking, it looks like she is ready to move forward here in May, and she's got a question. Do y'all help me set up the website? We absolutely do. So again, you ought to be able to get back with, I believe, Nevin there and And so you might be able to help. He might be able to explain that to you. How soon can I start training? Well, as soon as you complete the paperwork, and we're going to show that to you here in just one moment. Last question here for right now, and we're going to go through about 6 different steps you might want to be taking to kind of get started for that training. And what's the time frame after you completed the training, Patrick? Do you have time to decide if this business is right for you and request a refund?
Well, it's 30 days from the time you sign up with us. So as soon as you get the funding to us and the signed agreement, that 30 days is ticking. That's why most people try to complete their live training modules within that first 30 days so they can make a decision after they've seen everything that there is in the training. Now, you don't have to go through all of the training, but we encourage you to do that so you really understand what the business is all about. But in any case, in the first 30 days, for any reason, if you don't like Eric's shirt, just
somebody said they liked my shirt. You need a shirt like this when you become a licensee.
I might ask for a refund if I saw my instructor wearing that. I don't know, Eric.
All right, let's go through these steps here. First of all, you can ask for a research guide. What's a research guide, Patrick?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I wish I could reach over here and grab it. It's too far over on my shelf here.
That's okay.
There is a printed 50-page PDF of all the stuff that's not on our website. This is a lot of information, folks. So we put it in a PDF and ask you to request that. So only the interested are requesting it. But just get back with the person. Again, there's our email and phone number. You can call right now if you want to and just say, hey, I don't know who my rep is. Who is my rep? And tell them I want that research guide. We'll get that to you.
And then go to our YouTube channel. If you have not been out to our YouTube channel, go out to youtube.com/YABS. And folks, right there, you're going to find tons of wonderful webinars that Patrick and I have done in the past. I mean,
and interviews with other people who've gone through our training. Eric, I counted the other day, it's over 120 interviews that I've done now over the years. And so if you'd like to just hear from people, not even have to call them and ask them questions, you can just listen to them, what they said on their interviews. You're welcome to do that on our YouTube channel there.
You bet. And if you'd like to get a reference list from your rep that you're working with here, and I think we mentioned that earlier, but Patrick, this is a great opportunity for someone that's looking into the business to ask some questions just one-on-one with a licensee right now.
Yeah, because even Eric and I, we might just answer the questions we want to answer or the way we want to answer them. When you call and talk to some of the people who've been through our training, which we do not prompt them as to what to say, you can ask them anything you want and get the real, answer. The
real answers there. And folks, we want you to see the demonstration of the software. You need to see it. As if you haven't seen it, or if you've already seen it once, go see it again. I mean, because it's truly a help for you to understand really how that system actually works.
Yeah, you really can't appreciate our cloud-based system until you see it live, happening right on your screen, live across the internet.
You bet. And then the second to the last thing here, review the purchase agreement. Patrick, what is it? 4 pages long?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 4 short pages. It's not like a franchise. They have like 30-page agreements. This is real straightforward. Here's what we're going to do for you. Here's what you say you'll do for us, and so forth. And then it asks for you to wire or use your credit card to fund the company. And then the last thing is just send it in and schedule your training with your instructor. We'll put you in contact with the person who's actually going to do your training, and you'll be able to go through that step by step with them, setting that up. You're going to love this one-on-one instructing.